You know, yesterday I couldn't remember if it was 7 minutes or 9 minutes. I think I did 9 minutes. This is day 7 of the countdown to my 7th year anniversary of becoming the little Marty again. No compromises when people try to domesticate me. Not gonna work. Today, long day. I did eat more at lunch. I do have my own. I'll be the only one using this. Beautiful pink toilet. I'll be able to read comic books during the day, take my time, and regain my. And I don't think I'll move the Musicho. I tried their laundromat close to here, and the washing machine was fine. The dryer took a long time, but as people have said, it's drying, so. And it's not even everything I had to do. I just did one load that I didn't want to be too big. There's more things inside, actually. It's not all of it that are drying inside the vehicle. It's not too windy. It's not going to fall off that rope. And there's a lot of bugs here. They're not that aggressive. The birds really early in the morning, even before though I hear the birds, I wake up generally early. I like that the medicine I take makes me go to bed earlier and wake up earlier and be so much more productive when I take it as is recommended by Dr. Humanix because I'm taking it for reasons that other doctors would not have thought about, and at the way that I know works for me, paying attention to my mind, right? For example, if I forget to write on my list of things to do, take second dosage before noon, is I'll feel my brain, right? My brain has a general fatigue that it starts to experience. And, there's a lot of workshops I'd like to give on how this medicine has helped me deal or cure or get rid of things that doctors thought was something else in the past when it wasn't. Since a young age, actually. Except young age, I didn't really have any doctors looking into these things. So today was a very productive day. Met the fire chief, who may start to give some training in the fall. Also heard there was some badminton players in this community that are competitive, that are going to be probably going in the fall in probably a pretty nice gym, I would say. Except I don't know if it'll be accommodated for badminton in the right ways, but I can adapt to that. Maybe not other people that are used to the previous gym they played in, but I adapt fairly well if the floor, again, is not high impact. I don't have any knee problems right now, but still it can develop. So so I had a pretty great day. The red flags I pick up are minimal, and they're typical of small communities where the gossip includes private information about other people spoken openly for others to hear about. Now that doesn't bother me too much as an individual because I live a transparent life, but I know that some people that might want to seek help for things probably don't because they fear that this small community will be knowing about it and talking about it. So it's a negative, it's a culture breaking behavior that is pretty common. When I gain the trust of any group that I might be training or in a workshop with, which I hope to give some, this is something I will mention as a culture repair. It's one way to minimize this. That doesn't mean you can't talk about things in certain ways with respect, but just don't do it in these public places where you see somebody's overhearing and you don't even care, right? It's not okay. So anyways, I was worried yesterday because I wasn't even sure I'd have enough fuel to get to the gas station if the Ministry of Poverty Creation would deposit the money. They did, so right away I paid back my sister-in-law that I had to borrow, paid back the $500 that really the ministry should have paid because it was them that forced me to give it somewhere else and come back from a free campground. And I paid right away the second part of the payment for the owner of the Musicho here. But I did notice that they wrote flagged for next month, for July. So flagged, it could just be that they believe I'm the dishonest one, as if I'm the one and not them. And they just wanted to confirm that I did the payment of my portion for the Musicho. And then they might unflag it. It was automatically flagged as soon as the payment was done. So anyways, so that was nice to see that this morning, that I was able to pay back people that I made promises to without being forced to break them because other people don't really apply policies. They just apply their attitudes and their feelings to decisions, right? They don't apply the documentation I provide, the information I give that I record myself giving in their offices. So anyways, again, so many beautiful women here. It's amazing. I didn't see that girl again. The one that I actually saw when I first arrived in this community, I saw her with her backpack on the side of the road. Looked like she was intelligent. From her observation skills, I could tell she was looking at me as well. This last vehicle arriving in the community. Oh crap, I'm giving you a lot of information. And was happy to see her the next day at a local store, and because there's not that many. This is like my little Sicily, Alaska so far. But again, Joel Flagshman, he wanted to go back to New York City at the end of this series. I wouldn't want to go back to a big city. There are a few places in the world that I consider would be a nice retirement residence for me on the planet. But this is a great community. Like, I was surprised to hear the badminton today. And again, so many people are excited about my skills. So many people know of me already because it was on the website. I noticed yesterday my name as the manager of this service that I'm going to provide as the new person doing it this summer, with a few people under me that I am going to meet tomorrow. And I think there's a lot of people that will appreciate not just the service that I'll be the manager of, but also that is very much needed in the community, but also the friendliness that I deliver it with and how open I am to feedback. I did send an email yesterday saying, if you will let me, I consider the job of manager one that does these things. So hopefully, I didn't check their response to that from yesterday yet, but I'll see if they allow me to do a great job. Now, they might say, Martin, you seem to have posters everywhere and you seem to be putting your hand in a lot of things. Yeah, and I can do that. And I'm not doing it for the money. And again, I sent an email yesterday saying it's not about the money. I'm just looking for a community that will see me, make efforts to know me, come to understand me, and hopefully appreciate me. And again, it's a vlog from 4 years ago that said why I was leaving Canada. It wasn't just because of the abusive behaviors, but also that I deserve this as my human rights, right? Especially somebody as unique as me who paid my dues in misery and suffering to become the Homo sentient sapien. So I don't know if anybody can overhear over this thing here walking on the road. Usually I hear the bicycles. Very few people actually walk here, and the cars are not very loud down this road to wake me up in the morning. I'm looking at my muscles. I'm really, I bloat a little bit now, but not that much, and you can tell how toned I am underneath this fat still. So I'll try not to move the Musicho too much now that I know how close things are in this small community for me to walk until I get either a better bicycle or an electric or hybrid, two-wheel vehicle, and get back into shape still, trim even more. And I am looking pretty young for my age. If I can only fix my teeth there, and I don't know if that program for insurance that some specialists are sending in for approval will be accepted. I sure hope so. If I make a girlfriend before that, like that girl that I talked to, and I said, here's my email, and when I talked about a few topics with me, she said, I want to talk to you about that one for sure. I said, please do, and I don't know if she's single, and she might already have kids, I don't know. And that's okay with me, but I just want to say that I think she's pretty great. I'm a polymath, so for me that is a person that through a young age has valued intelligence and therefore understood the importance of intelligence at many levels and dimensions of it, so developed a lot of different types of intelligence and skill sets and knowledge bases, and become a systems thinker because of it. So with these observation skills, it's made me notice that she's probably above average for this area in intelligence just by noticing her observation skills, which is a great way. I mean, when you know what people look at, in what way they look at, and the timing of it, the duration of it, the focus of it, right? Because this is very different than this is very different kind of observation. So you can tell how much effort of attention they're putting, and you can tell sometime with a very straight line, sinus, cosinus, tangent. Our brain actually knows the distance between our eyes and can do these three-dimensional equations to know exactly how far something is or what depth it is, or the three-dimensional stuff. And if my long-distance eyesight is very good, so I can tell from far away what people are looking at, and I can tell probably what some of their motivations are for doing so, right? If, for example, if they're looking in a specific direction and there's nothing else that it can be, because there's not, on a slight variation of angle, different options, then I can tell this person finds this very of interest to them and fascinating in a way that I can tell a lot about that person. So this lady, I said, "Oh, are you the one I saw at that time yesterday?" Yeah, and I didn't tell her. I just think she's beautiful, but there's so many beautiful women. But I'm gonna kind of maybe focus on her. And but because this is a community that talks a lot and that will know, hey, I met this person, the one who does this, and did you know he also does this, and he's great because he's done this and he's done this, and people are saying great things. Eventually, somebody that is an appealing prospect that is single might approach me. And I'll let that happen, because that's what I deserve, right? I deserve somebody to approach me and just pay my dues in this community and show my care and concern for others and role model what I preach, who I claim to be. And but if I'm going to direct some of my focus of interest romantically, I would have just chosen that girl, the first one that I saw arriving in the community on the side of the road, and that I talked to the next day, and that knows about me already. And if she doesn't contact me when I see her again, I'll just say, "Hey, I have some free time there. I wonder if you can show me around this area," or something like that. And that's it. I kind of keep expecting nasty surprises, because everything's turning out so great for me right now. I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop, because it's happened to me a lot in my life. But so far, even when I set a stricter boundary with one of my emails to the people that I'll be networking on this job with, that are, in a way my supervisors, even though I'm the manager, they're the ones who created and are facilitating. They're the committee that's doing this job, this program, that we're hoping is going to be the best summer of it yet. Is I have to set my boundaries as a way to role model my management skills, my leadership skills. And I did it in a great way. And when I hear back from them expecting, all sorts of things, it's never negative. It's pretty much positive. And the negatives here are easily predictable, because they're linked to particular patterns of thinking that aren't necessarily hypocrisy as much as the typical redneckism responses to things when people, let's say, are not in a good mood, and you get them in a better mood the next time, and it's different. Okay, I'll let you go. There's one more thing I want to say. Oh yeah, I recorded an audio of a webinar where I was asking even some questions that they answered, although you can only see the three presenters and not who's participating. Like, people didn't know I was there live, really. I even asked who else, how many people, they wouldn't even answer that. And this is about a job of an agency that started 4 years ago, and it's 6 months or so after I sent a letter to the government's Ministry of Education saying, hey, I want to do this because this is needed. And this agency kind of does similar, but I can tell there were some red flags, and I can tell that I'd be surprised if I was hired there. Like, the hypocrisy in that higher level elitist community would not, they just walk the talk, they put an image, but when I tested them in some ways with the question, and of course with my application it says, if you consider my application to be like this, then you're not a good fit for me as a candidate, and that means as well not a good fit to be hiring for this role that you claim is supposed to be pursuing this mission statement for the good of the province and all peoples. So we'll see what happens with that. I'd be surprised if I got anything other than the generic "thank you for applying. We went with another candidate." So not even as unique an application I sent in. I could tell that that's more likely, especially with this webinar and how they didn't answer my question number 2, which was the most important. They did 1, 3, 4. They skipped that one. Anyways, oh man, 50 minutes. That's so. Who's interested in watching this? Just me, I guess.